Peg, that was a tough one, but as they say, there's always next year.
It was a heartbreaker, Pat. This one's going to sting for a little bit, but we'll come back better, stronger, even more optimistic than the year before. That's what Bills Mafia does. We're a family, right? Just like in this podcast, we're a family, and Bills Mafia families is going to hurt for a little while, but we'll be back. There's always next year, as Pat said.
Coming to you from the great Southwest and Central New York, a brother and sister from the same mother and mister, Patrick Newell and Peg Newell, your hosts of Bill's Bloodline.
Yeah. So welcome to Bill's Bloodline. I am Patrick Newell. Next to me is my sister, Peg Newell. We're new on YouTube, so if you like what you hear, we welcome you to like, comment, and subscribe. And Peg, why don't you fill them in on all the socials?
Yeah, we're on all your favorite streaming services, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, of course, YouTube. You can find us on X, formerly Twitter. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And really, the best way to find us, if you really want to find us, just search us up on Google.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you to everyone that has followed us this year. We've gotten some good feedback, and we're building a subscriber base. And we're gonna probably take a break for a while, maybe come back when you say Peg, maybe around a little bit after the draft to kind of recap the off season, and then maybe once in the preseason. So we're gonna probably take a little bit of break. Unfortunately, the Buffalo Bills, their season came to an end today. Lost in overtime to Denver, 33-30. Denver moves on. The Buffalo Bills have to figure it out. So, Peg, what are you feeling?
Initial thoughts are just one of just pain, right? Just pain. I feel it. We are lifelong Bills fans. My earliest memories involve watching the Bills with you, Pat, sitting down in our parents' basement, you know, wood wood stove burning and just watching the Bills and just being passionate about them. And nothing has changed in 50 years, 49 years, 50 some odd years for us. So it just hurts. That's my initial thought. And then I think the thing that really my first impression when I'm thinking about the game, when you ask me, is when Cook fumbled early on in the first quarter. I thought momentum was just going our way. And I feel like even though we were able to get the comeback and get in it and push it into overtime, after that fumble, something happened. It was just like a break in the composure. And then we had to claw our way back. And it was just, a bad harbinger of what was to come, the eventuality of the loss in overtime.
Just a lot of uncharacteristic things happened. The Broncos had only forced 14 turnovers the entire year and only four fumble recoveries, and they had three in this game and two interceptions, the last one being the killer, of course. But it's a sad experience that we had our second Josh Allen no punt game, but unfortunately on this one, the reason we didn't punt is because we turned it over five times.
Yeah. Yeah. Pat, what do you think, primarily outside of the turnovers, what do you think went wrong today? I mean, a lot of things,
Really,
right?
I well, I can name five things that went wrong right off the bat, and two things that went wrong on the last drive. The last two things were two pass interference penalties that accumulated 53 yards. They didn't have to go that far doing it on their own because we kind of helped them out a little bit. And as much as I'd like to look through rose-colored glasses, the Trey White one was legitimately pass interference. He was tackling him before the ball got there. So, I mean, as much as I'd like that one to go our way, I mean, you got to be honest. I mean, that was a bad one. Taron Johnson one, maybe not as clear cut. And then if you go back, we had a call like Brandon Cooks was in the end zone, or maybe it was Curtis Samuel deep in the end zone on a long pass. It looked like that could have been called pass interference too in overtime. Do you remember that one?
I do
Where
remember
it
that,
was
and
slightly overthrown. He was kind of dragging on to his back and slowed his progress. And I thought that could have been pass interference as well.
yeah,
But
yeah,
overall, what went wrong is that, we came into Denver on 6 days rest. We were not sharp. It was hit or miss. We made a lot of great plays and then a lot of bad plays. So when you're looking at such a huge rest disadvantage, and when you're also playing a team at altitude, when you are a sea level team, and you haven't gone out there to acclimate yourself. I live out in altitude, so I'm used to it. I've lived out here for years. But if you're coming in there on the day before, you could see they were sucking oxygen when they didn't have the ball. So we had guys that were tired, guys that were sloppy. When they were making good plays, we're making some bad plays. So
Yeah.
a lot of stuff, uncharacteristic. I look at it as uncharacteristic. And as much as we like to blame the coaching on that, it's the players that make the plays on the field. And Sean McDermott, as much as he's criticized at times, Peg, um, I think he did a bang up job. They were super resilient. We were down, 10 at the half, took the lead up four. All we needed to get was a stop at the end there.
Hmm.
They score, and we have to get a driving drive for a field goal to tie it. So I'm in McDermott's corner, and I thought he did a great job adjusting throughout the year. The team was resilient all year long. I am extremely proud of this team because we played above the X's and O's most of the season. From a talent perspective, this is not the Bills' best team.
Yeah. Pat, by far not the Bills' best team. And I know people, want heads to roll. But like you said, they put together a good game plan today. They can't control the mistakes. They can't control the turnovers. They can't control the missed tackles. And, if the Bills were to go all the way, McDermott would be in that coach of the year conversation because of the things that you mentioned. A lot of these players, I kind of jokingly, and I don't want to be disrespectful, these are like, incredible professional athletes, but they were castaways. They were cast-offs by a lot of NFL teams, And in Arlinda, my spouse was talking about Nicole Hardman and a critical drop he had. And I was like, well, that's why he was cut. See, hard hands, Hardman, hard hands.
Oh, that was on the one drive that he just dropped one that was kind of a low pass still,
It
but he
was.
should have caught it. He still should
Yeah,
have caught
yeah,
it. I mean, they had drops too. I'm not going to
yeah.
blame it. They dropped a touchdown
No.
pass. Straight up
Yes.
in the first drive of the game.
Oh,
They had this
yeah.
out. So I
Yeah.
mean, it equaled out from that extent. And I'm not one to blame. And hey, we didn't do this, we didn't do that. I hear a
Right.
lot of experts to go. Heck, I don't want to be one of those guys that makes excuses for a loss.
No, no.
It's an execution game, and they executed better than us, one more play than we did, and
Right.
that's why we are gonna lick our wounds and think about next year.
Yeah, yeah. One of the things too, going back to like the heads are going to roll, people are going to call for Brady, and other school or colleges are looking at Brady. Maybe some other NFL teams we don't know. Now he's open for those interviews, and I liked a lot of what I saw from Brady in terms of switching it up and, like you said, going deeper in the playbook. But what I thought was inexcusable, we saw at the end of the half they were aggressive. That didn't go well for us. Obviously. And, we could argue about that a little bit or whine, but that's how the cookies crumbled there. But I don't know why that when it counted most in overtime, Brady did those two back to back on first downs, first down run with Cook right up in the middle or a little bit off center into a pile of people. As you might as well burn that first down. And now all of a sudden you only have in their territory, you only have two downs to get first down. I just thought that play was not working all game. And so the thing that frustrated me about Brady all year was the thing that frustrated me at the end. And so there were some really cool, some really good wrinkles that he threw in today. And of course, you got to expect that hook and lateral when your back is against the
That's
wall.
become a staple of the offense.
Yes, and it's like you don't wanna have to
It's
rely on that.
hilarious.
That's awful. It's like relying on luck, for something, but, you know, I could go on and on, but I just really hated those run calls on first down when it mattered most and you have to be aggressive. I also
Ye
know that, they're up in altitude but if we were able to get more pressure on him, if we had decided to, do some more, corner safety blitzes, earlier on and we're more aggressive, maybe we could have prevented, some points coming up on the board. But again, it's a game of four quarters. People only have so much energy. They're gassed. They're on 6 days rest, and you have to save that. It's kind of like going full court press in basketball. You can't do it the entire game because you won't have any legs left at the end. But
Yeah, I mean, we could go back and nitpick. I think I wrote to you in a text that we were losing first down, like 3 or 4 first downs in a row. We put ourselves in 2nd and 10. second and 11, 3, 4 times because we weren't getting any movement. Second and 9, second and 10, second and 11. The run plays called up first down in overtime and late in the game we're gaining yards. And that puts a lot of pressure on Josh and the rest of the team to try to make up that extra yards. You want to put yourself in a second and 5, maybe, or second and 6, best case scenario. And then calling bubble screens, when they were sniffing them out. They worked today. They did work, but they also didn't work at key times.
Right.
So
Yeah,
there's
Josh
that.
sorry, Pat. Yeah, Josh, underthrew a few balls today, overthrew a few balls.
Yeah.
That last key bubble screen to Shakir that he just underthrew it. He was getting pressured all day. And God bless Joey Bosa. God bless Ed Oliver for getting out there. And then, he got banged up and didn't come back in. They put everything on the line today, and we just couldn't get pressure on the
And
quarterback.
without blitzing, we did with
Yeah.
blitzing,
With
but
blitzing, but just in our regular pass rush. Bo Nix had more time. He moved around in the pocket. The pocket didn't collapse on him as much as it was collapsing on Josh. And so, you know, next year, Pat, there's always
yeah.
next year. This week, Pat and Peg Spotlight, newest Newell family member, Josh Haines.
So welcome, Mr. Josh Haines, Jaguars fan, married to my daughter, newest family member. How's it going?
Things are good. I mean, as good as they can be given the results of the last couple weeks. But aside from that, I think things are good.
Yeah.
Great.
Good.
So yeah, I asked you just before offline. Can you give us some advice on how to deal with a heartbreaking loss? Because obviously you guys lost to us last week, and we had a crushing loss today to Denver.
Yeah, definitely unfortunate to see it shake out the way it did there in OT. I think really what it comes down to is just taking it all in. You have to take the good with the bad, and the bad with the good. And so, you know, you got to be reflective and look at what was good about this season and try to take that into next season. If you have young guys on the team, you want to see how they develop and progress over the offseason, what changes need to be made. Hopefully, Josh Allen isn't taking it too personally. I know that he plays the Superman role for them and came up a little bit short this week, but that he's not a stranger to that, unfortunately, either. So he knows how to bounce back. So you guys have a star there, and James Cook is also there to run the ball down people's throats week in and week out. So you have solid core. So stay positive is all I can say.
So we'll have a few questions for you, and then Peg's gonna kind of wrap. Tell me about how you got interested in football. I understand your dad is a football fan, and he's not a Jaguars fan. So kind of tell us your story about being a fan of football, how you got to be a Jaguars fan, and kind of how you bonded with your dad over football.
Yeah, sure thing. So, like you said, my dad is definitely not a Jaguars fan. He is right in the same group as you. He's Bills Mafia all the way. And so I guess my story and how I became interested in football is just tossed me one day when I was a little bit younger. I would say a lot younger actually. And I could finally wrap my head around what a football was. And we were living in Jacksonville, or just outside of Jacksonville at the time. We went to a Jacksonville Jaguars game. I got to meet the mascot. Got a jersey, little jersey, went running around the stadium, and I was just hooked from there. So, and it was fun to be able to root against my dad, and it has been. We had, always friendly jabs back and forth, and now I'm lucky enough to have even more people to throw friendly jabs back and forth with. So, football season's always fun. I have a core group of guys that I hang out with from college still. We're all in a huge group chat together and talk, weekly about how our teams are doing for better or worse. And so it's just become a mainstay at this point.
Have you talked to your dad yet after today's loss?
I sent him a message and it just said heartbreaker. I think that he's probably taken it pretty tough. So I haven't seen any response come through, and I'm not sure that I will until tomorrow morning when he has had some time to cope with how things played out. But I'm sure that there will be some conversation about how things played out this evening. So.
Yeah.
So that's a couple easy ones for you. Who's your favorite Jags player of all time, and why is that?
Ooh. I feel like you have to go with Jones Drew, right? Like he's just like a staple. Him or Fred Taylor is right there too. Just like two solid running backs that just are, they've led Duval through and through. They put the team on their back in many occasions. It never amounted to much of anything, unfortunately for us. But for what it's worth, they were our guys. And it's cool to see, that we still have some star players at our disposal now with ETN doing his thing. Hopefully he sticks around come next year. Trevor obviously is coming into his own finally after all these years, and excited to see how Travis Hunter obviously plays out for us too down the line.
So you kind of understand having like some very lean years. I looked at some of your history. You had a 9-year drought with no playoffs, made the playoffs against us. I think you had the Bortles 10-3 solid win over us in 2017, then 4 more abysmal years, including the Urban Meyer year, and then this year. So when you're losing, I think you've made the playoffs 9 or 10 times over your history since 95. So you're not in the mix more so than you're in the mix. So how have you kind of like maintained your fandom when most of the time you guys didn't have a chance? It's kind of like we
it's
were.
I was gonna say it's tough sometimes, but I think that there's the silver lining always that maybe next year's the one. And we're finally in a position now where we're starting to put the pieces together. And I think a lot of that started with our front office. Getting James Gladstone in there, young, fresh perspective on things to be able to come in and shake it up a little bit. Liam Cohen obviously has done wonders this year. In my opinion, coach of the year. I'm definitely biased, but taking our record and flipping it 180 degrees the opposite direction is just huge. Same thing for our OC and DC. Udinsky and Campanelli. Hopefully, I'm hopeful that they'll stick around for at least another year or so to see what we can really do with this core group that way. But I know that there's a ton of head coaching positions open throughout the league. So those guys definitely have eyes on them, and rightfully so. They did a hell of a job with our guys. So we'll see how it plays out.
I think Campanelli might get plucked because he brought that Jags defense. As you know, last year they're abysmal. They were horrible last year on defense.
Yeah.
And this year they were number 3 by the metrics in defense this year. And obviously they shut our running game down, the worst game of the year. So when you have a good coaching staff, you kind of expect it, don't you? Like you're not going to keep these guys forever.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate reality. Just that's how the league works. Guys get their name out there for one reason or another, and this was a year to show out for our guys, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Campanelli did wonders with them, even while we were a little bit beaten up here and there, and bringing in some new guys, and they seemed to fit right into the system that he had working. So obviously he knows ball, and he's going to take that knowledge elsewhere, or he could stay put. I would prefer that, obviously, but if he takes it elsewhere, I hope that we have some answers to be able to know how to pick it apart if and when we come up against that system ourselves. So
I have a fun thing that maybe it's not so fun not in retrospect since you lost, but there was I watch a lot of like content, and there was a kind of a lot of smack talk leading up to that Jags Bills game. And I'm assuming, living with a Bills fan, that there was no smack talk coming from you, or was there with my daughter Maya?
A little bit. I definitely got into it with some of my coworkers in the office. It's hard, living in upstate New York. Everyone seems to be a Bills fan. You're just surrounded by them, so you're bound to run into somebody who's going to mouth off to you, and you have to kind of chip back at them a little bit here and there. So I was definitely picking on the fact that I thought we were going to shut the run game down, and we definitely did that. We didn't let up one single runner didn't have 75 yards on us all season long, and we went up against Jonathan Taylor twice, James Cook in the playoffs. So when you're going up against elite runners like that and are able to lock it down, I think that speaks for itself. That was like my go-to punching line, was just like, hey, if you can run the ball on us, I think that you have a good shot. But obviously, you guys picked us apart in the air. Josh Allen did his thing, caught us lacking and sleeping a couple times over the top. So, and Shakir, 12 receptions in that game for just over 70 yards is gonna wear on us, and we just had no answer to shut him down.
No.
What is your most prized Jaguars item? Gear, clothing?
Ooh.
What, anything.
I think I got a football from my uncle Wayne when I was real young. That's a Jaguars football. It's still in the box, I think, but I think it's in storage somewhere in my parents' house. And I have been thinking about it all season long and over the years, especially about where that is, because I would love to have it up displayed somewhere. But I know that it's around somewhere. I just need to get my hands back on it and eyes back on it. But since that's out of the picture for the time being, it's got to be my Trevor Lawrence jersey, right? Like this is the year to flaunt it. So Trevor Lawrence was our guy, especially towards the tail end of the season when he started to put all the pieces together. He was, making a name for himself in the run-in for that MVP spot. And if the season continued, who knows where that would have finished. We'll see. Hopefully he can carry that momentum into next year and keep on trucking.
Family Rapid Fire.
Now it's time for our segment, Family Rapid Fire, with my nephew-in-law, Pat's son-in-law, Josh Haines, otherwise known as Joshy Wawa, who you may have seen in that last segment. My son peeked in. He was so happy that he had to wave at his favorite Joshy Wawa, Joshua in the whole world. So it's super simple, no stress, Josh. All you got to do is answer as quickly as possible in as fewest words as possible. It doesn't have to be a one-word answer. It can be a phrase. So here we go. Josh, how many Jags jerseys do you own?
I own 2.
And how tall are you and how much do you weigh?
I am 6'4" and just shy of the 160 mark.
Yeah. Is it true that you won?
A little bit.
Yeah. Is it true that you won a belly flop contest on a Royal Caribbean cruise? Is that rumor true?
That is true. And I beat out Pat for it too. So.
Oh, man. Oh,
yeah,
man.
well,
Oh, God.
I was the sacrificial lamb that had to go first. And then when someone bounces off water, they have a good chance of winning. So.
If you could grab one player from the Buffalo Bills and put him on the Jags next season, who would it be?
Ooh, oh man, that's so tough. Given the fact that ETN is kind of up in the air, having a solidified run game with James Cook would be awesome. Just, he's a great two-way player. He can catch the ball. He can run the ball. He does it all. So if ETN goes elsewhere, we need to find someone that can fill that role.
All right. When the Jags go to the Super Bowl, and if your very good friend is getting married at the same time, do you watch the Super Bowl or do you go to your friend's wedding? Not a best friend, but a good friend.
Oh man, a good friend. Oh, it depends. I guess it's tough. I think I'd probably be locked into the wedding. That's just the type of person I am. I'll catch highlights and stuff probably.
That is your stand-up guy. Yeah. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's your favorite Newell not named Maya of all?
Oh man, it's got to be Luca, my guy.
Yes, Luca, who just made an appearance. Good answer. And then, if Trevor Lawrence were a Disney princess, which one would he be?
Rapunzel, obviously, long golden locks. Hello.
Yes, hello. That's what Arlinda said. Arlinda's like, it's gonna be Rapunzel. And then, what would it be to share a Super Bowl victory, either with the Bills or with the Jags, with your father? How would you describe that in a word or a phrase, with your dad by your side?
It would be amazing. Come on, if it's going to be a win shared by him and it has to be the Bills, in my opinion, because he's been waiting much longer than I have. So I can put it off a little bit longer. But let's get a win for him, for you guys, for Maya, for the whole Newell clan. Sorry, CJ, I know you're watching too, but the Ravens have got some stuff to figure out.
Yeah,
they've got 2 Super Bowl wins too.
So. Yeah, so
well, I'm going to end it right there with Family Rapid Fire because that's the answer I wanted, and we can't beat that. So thanks for playing, Josh. Thanks for coming on the podcast. We really appreciate it. We're so glad you're part of our family.
No, I'm glad to be a part of the family too, officially.
Yes, officially. Yes. All right. We'll see you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
You have to give them all the credit in the world. When Cam Lewis got hurt in the first half, he was cramping up. We had to bring in our literally our third string guy, because Cam Lewis is already the backup. He's backing up Jordan Poyer. So we bring in Darnell Savage, and on the first play, they throw a deep shot. I think it's to little Jordan Humphrey, and they scored at the end of the first half, made it 17-10. Then later in the game, we get another injury to Trey White. First play, we have Dane Jackson in there. They go right at Dane Jackson and they score. So that's 14 points. I mean, that pinpoint passes. They they had eyed the weak spot right away and dialed up a play to take advantage of that, and they did both
Yeah,
times. I mean, if they would not have gotten those plays if we had, maybe not gotten injured. So that
yeah,
happens. But you gotta give them credit. Very clutch calls and clutch throws on that standpoint. But
yeah.
Denver, they're a resilient team too. Peg. I don't know if you read the stats. I think they had something like 11 comebacks in the fourth quarter this year, so
Yes.
this is
Yeah.
not out of character for Denver whatsoever. They're kind of
No.
like us. They rally in the fourth quarter, kind of hang around in games, and they got
Yeah.
us today.
They did, and, Allen had a higher passer rating. Cook was able to get 117 yards on the ground. Our stalwart running on, it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough today. It came down to a few critical plays. I thought Kincaid played valiantly. Knox took a shot and
He
held on
did.
to it. People stepped up, and you look at this crew. Like you said, there's a lot to be proud of. They didn't have the most talented team, and they went pretty far this year with that, and proved a lot of people wrong. So I'm proud
I,
of them for that.
yeah, and I had this point that I was going to make. I said I was going to say make a Josh Allen point, and it has to do with like Denver just completely abandoned the running game. And I've come to this conclusion that when Josh Allen is on the other side of the field, you feel like you have to keep scoring points because he's like the Terminator. He's going to keep coming. Every time he'll take a shot, he'll throw an
Yeah,
interception, he'll get hurt, but he keeps coming back. And he drove us into field goal range at the end there so we could tie the game. But, we were down 23-10, and some people were worried, well, I wasn't. I wasn't,
yeah,
because Josh is the Terminator. He keeps coming forward. He's like that boxer that never takes a step backward.
right.
Sometimes he gets hit too much. He gets rocked, makes a mistake, maybe gets knocked down, but he
Yeah,
keeps coming. And it's a disappointment for him. I know, but when we have that guy, he changes what other teams do because they are afraid of what he can do on there. So they feel like they have to keep scoring. So
great insight.
that's
We saw that a lot with it. We saw it with ETN. We saw it with the Jags today. We saw it with the
yeah,
Broncos. They
yeah.
just, and I'm sure there are other teams. If we go back, that's great insight. I didn't even think about that. Everybody knows you can run on the Bills and their soft defense, run defense, and people stop doing that.
Yeah.
He's a machine. I'm excited for him. We all know Bills Mafia too. Anyone who follows the Bills, everyone knows that Josh puts football completely out of sight, out of mind for a while, and takes a nice long rest. Gets his body healthy, plays a lot of golf. He's going to be a father.
Mhm.
That's a really, really important thing in his life. And so he'll take some time this season, and I'm sure he'll come back with a vengeance. And from earlier in our an earlier episode, I mentioned that statistics kind of bode well post fatherhood for NFL quarterbacks, especially quarterbacks that are as elite as Josh. So I think good things are up ahead. I pray they are.
Josh turns 30 in May. Um,
Mm,
just let's just put that in perspective. He has probably crossed the threshold of maybe at least half his career, and he's been the best offensive player the Buffalo Bills have ever had. So, as much as we suffered over the years, I feel pretty good that we have him on our side because as long as we have Josh Allen, we have a chance, we have some hope. And that's why we're Bills fans because we're perpetually hopeful.
yes, and I have a wonderful student who is writing an essay about purpose and purpose in life, but it's not the kind of purpose that you get. It's not these like grand things. And I think just being able to get together every week, just being able to talk to you, being able to watch the game, getting together with friends, what the Bills do for the community, for us, for fans. I don't even want to mention never winning a Super Bowl, but being a part of the ride is more important, I think. And building community and sharing this our love of our Bills with our friends and our family and our loved ones. And that's what the Bills give to us.
Do you want to not shout out anyone, but just give some kudos to some of the newer players that contributed this year? Deion Walker with a huge interception today. He was a rookie. He stepped up. Cole
Mhm.
Bishop took a huge step this year from year one to year two. Jackson Halls was an outstanding addition to our offense as a run blocker, sometime catcher. Uh, J- you know, Actually, James Cook is only 4 years into it, so he's still got some life. Of course, we have Josh Allen. Khalil Shakir is still young in his career. You have to feel pretty good about the core that's coming back next year, and then the guys that you may not see after this year because free agents go separate ways. I want to thank all those guys like maybe like David Edwards, who may not come back, guys like Connor McGovern, who may not come back, guys like that, Joey Bosa, thank you for your service this year. All that kind of stuff. Just thank you to everyone. If we don't see you here next year, we do appreciate what you gave to the Bills this year.
Thank you. I sure hope we are able to bring Joey Bosa back. He looks really happy to be with the Bills. It's like a team like no other. We've heard sound bites from him. Personally, for a shout out this week, as Pat and I start to wind down, I just want to thank my family and my wife for being really supportive of this podcast. We have 2 young boys, and it's a very busy household. As you know, I'm an educator. I'm very busy with work, with school, and so podcasting takes time. And so I want to thank my family. And Arlinda, I love you very much. And family is everything to me. Pat, I love you. Thanks
Love you too.
for suggesting this endeavor. I can't wait to come back bigger and better, and hopefully with more subscribers, and
Yeah.
get the word out about Bill's Bloodline next season.
We dipped our toe into it, a highly competitive content creation market. Most of the people that are in this space that we tend to watch quite a bit, they are firmly established for years and years and years. They're professional podcasters, they're professionals with their NFL analysis. We're, like Peg has said many times, we're passionate fans that know a little bit about football, but really, next year, we're hopeful to build on this. We jumped in about 7 weeks into the season. Like I said before, early on, we are probably going to do a couple off-season ones just to stay fresh, so we remember how to do this. And I thank Peg, obviously, for doing 99.99% of the editing. Not that I'm fully incapable of it, but she, obviously she was great at it. But
Oh,
and
thanks,
I love
Pat.
my wife, and thank you to Ida for being so supportive of this. She this loves it when you and I connect and we're passionate about something that is
Yeah.
wholesome as being a Bills fan.
Yes, yes. We hope to take a trip out to see you soon too. And another thing too, if you're interested, not just in editing, my editing, but I have written and produced the music and things like that you hear, the little sound bites, sound clips, the Bills Bloodline theme song, and maybe you recognize that key. It was definitely inspired by the Shout song, but it's kind of a variation on the theme. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank CJ Hodge, also a family member, nephew-in-law, the voice of Bill's Bloodline, the golden voice. Thank you, CJ. You're the best.
Thanks, CJ.
And we'd like to thank our guest, Josh Haines, for coming on the podcast today. And very well spoken, very smart young man, super, super bright, great football acumen. And we really hope the Jags get there for him and his family. But we really hope the Bills win before the Jags.
Yeah,
The big one.
definitely. Well, Peg, I had a great time this year.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, there was some logistical issues sometimes with our 2-hour difference trying to get us hooked up, and obviously with your family situation being much more urgent than mine because I'm an empty nester and you have 2 young kids, so
Yeah.
obviously there's that difference. But I don't know if I don't think I have anything else. I'm going to sign off. The Bills are 33-30 losers in overtime to the Denver Broncos. We are 0-7 in overtime, unfortunately, Peg, with Josh Allen. Hard to believe, but
Yeah.
anything else?
Yeah, I was just going to give a shout out to the Fayetteville Manlius class of 2026. Go Hornets. You guys rock.
Yeah, good luck in the future.
Yeah.
Get through this year.
Go get them.
So anyway, from our family to the Bills Mafia family and anybody else that was interested in watching us, stay loud, stay proud. See you guys all here, hopefully next year, maybe.
Go Bills.